Don in London. Hello, it's August 22nd. Quite a momentous day for Libya in particular. The opportunity for democracy is occurring. So the Arab Spring is moving into the Arab Autumn. And I feel good about this because there's hope. And part of what these videos are all about is hope. Hope that life will work. So across the globe, all sorts of things going on. It can be quite challenging to somebody like me because I can get involved and roped in. I can feel what's going on, and I guess people feel what's going on in their real lives too. So my video is all about recovery from addiction in my case, to substances and behaviour. My primary addictive substance, alcohol, and the other addictions around people, places and things. So I learned early on, I guess, the value of a drink. The value to me, it took the edge off, provided sleepiness, conviviality, joyfulness, and access to feelings which I really didn't understand. And because I fixed them with a drink, I never really understood how they could work in reality. Because I think my feelings, and I feel my feelings, were always influenced by extremes of behaviour. Trying to be in the right place, with the right people, with the right things, doing the right things. And not surprisingly, if we rely on something to alter or fix ourselves, and in my case, as I say, alcohol, I don't know that I got too far down the other substances which are considered illegal. Fixing meant that I didn't really get to understand my feelings too well. So, sober a day at a time for some time, years in fact now. How did I do it? Well, it wasn't an isolated effort. It wasn't done with self-will, because in my case, my self-will, let me down. Willpower let me down. Because every time I said, I'll swear off the drink, I took another one. Or I got some more in. Or I went to the pub or a bar or a restaurant, or went out for drinks with people. But in the end, I was an isolated drinker, 24/7, lost everything. And there was a lot to lose in the end, mainly me. And it's now that I realise the value of being sober one day at a time. So how did I do it? Well, I needed a lot of help, so family, community, professionals, medical people, anyone I could turn to and ask, please help me understand how to stop doing this, stop hurting myself, stop the self-harm of being an alcoholic. And everyone tried. But if I wasn't able to do it, it seemed like no one was able to do it until I came across a fellowship or a society of people who had learned how to be sober one day at a time and do it continuously from there on. And that fellowship is, and is still in my life, that fellowship is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't speak for AA, never can, never will, because every single person who goes there is unique, authentic, on their own life path, and will speak where they will about their recovery and what's going on in their life. So the reasons for doing these videos is to say, I didn't do it on my own, and I'm part of a fellowship, and that fellowship is AA. So a collection or a society of people learning to be sober one day at a time. And the reasons for doing these videos, share about it, but not explicitly about individuals, and how it works in practice. So there is a 12-step program, and I call the videos Alcoholics Anonymous Steps in Action, or the other way around, simply because AA gave me the foundation of how to live life again in a different way, and that way works for me. I get my freedom of choice back by understanding 12 principles of living. It sounds a lot of principles, but in fact, as we learn, we make progress, and never perfect. So there's only one step to start with, and that's step 1, admitting we are powerless over alcohol, and that if we were to take a drink, life will get unmanageable again, because the effect is a fixing me so I can deal with what's going on. But in fixing me, I lose track of reality because I'm changing the way I feel. So these days when my feelings match reality, what's going on, happy, sad, joyful, wonderful, hysterical, if my feelings fit what is going on right now, then I can react sometimes and respond sometimes to how life is. So how does AA help me? And anyone who wants to have a go at being sober for one day. And please remember, sobriety is just for today. We may put a few days together, which then become weeks, months and years. We always know that we're in the same place as everybody else, today, in the moment of now. And I'm pleased about Libya, and I'm pleased about what's happening in countries where there's been no democracy, where feelings and outlooks have been suppressed for decades. It's true everywhere, but with the freedom of choice, we can make the best of what is. So AA helps me deal with real life. On this little card is the AA preamble. If you meander into a meeting or go to a meeting, quite a frightening thing to do actually, because it means we admit we've got a problem, and then we suddenly find there are tens of thousands of people with the same problem. How to live reality. So what is AA? This preamble shared at every meeting I go to, and there's hundreds in London, hundreds of meetings and thousands in recovery. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. That's if you have any money. If you don't have any money, it's free. If you've got a few pennies to put in the pot to help pay for tea, coffee and rent, and a bit of literature, that's what we're aiming to do. We don't stockpile money, because money would become an issue, because somebody would look after it and then covet it probably. So we keep ourselves lean and mean in the respect of most things, living in one day. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. So that means we are all allowed to have every affiliation that we like, prefer and works for us. And AA is there for one situation only, sobriety. So you will hear a lot about where people come from, you'll hear a lot about ideas and affiliations, but you choose your path. You have the freedom to choose your path from here on in. And that's what I like. It takes a bit of getting used to. It doesn't mean you're going to get your own way all the time. It means that freedom of choice. If you're on your own, you've got that freedom. If you're with people, it's by negotiation, always, I have found. Or we tread on each other's toes and cause ourselves damage. And then. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And on this little card it said 1947, but it predates that, and there were bigger preambles. But the bigger the message at the beginning of a meeting, the more people switched off. So lean and mean seems to be the outlook. My videos aren't lean and mean. I just go into, I talk about what's happening for me, and it's ad lib. Apart from some critical bits for me, which I think are important. I draw from the Daily Reflections book, this one, a daily reading about the 12-step program, or the 12 principles of living, how to be open, honest and willing to live life free, and the 12 traditions, which is about fellowship, all about unity, service and recovery, and a word about the word anonymity. Personal anonymity, I feel, is sacrosanct, and the meetings and rooms of AA try to assure that this is so. But we are susceptible, like everybody else, to have people in who will break other people's anonymity, and that's not really on. And some people do it for gain of one sort or another. We meet interesting people in sobriety who may be in the public eye, or most of us are not in the public eye. And don't forget, this video is about AA, it's not about me. Thank God. But I do them simply because I was asked and answered yes, to try and help. So the daily reflection for today, August 22nd, is, I suppose, its foundation, the reading, if you like, is in step 8, where we make a list of amends we need to make and be willing to make them. And the amends are in terms of restitution and acknowledgement of wrongdoing to others from our past. And then it becomes a daily habit of, we're not apologists for what we are and who we are these days, but we need to own up when we make mistakes and upset other people, however we do it, so we keep our side of the street clean. And the 12 steps, unfortunately, make us very good at judging other people. So whilst we're trying to keep our side of the street clean, we can roll out our tractor with a great big digger on the end of it and start digging up other people's side of the street, because we learn through judgment that we can see their faults, that it's not, the 12 steps are not about seeing other people's faults or assets or liabilities. It's about seeing our own assets and liabilities and doing something about them on a daily basis, so we get to a place of stability. And I guess that's where this AA reflection for the 22nd comes into play. August 22nd, step 8, seeking emotional stability. When we develop still more, we discover the best possible source of emotional stability to be God himself, or for the atheist or agnostic, most likely good conscience, taking account of the whole big picture and not just our part of it, or what we want. We found that dependence upon his perfect justice, forgiveness and love was healthy. So justice, forgiveness and love, most important. And that it would work where nothing else would. If we really depended upon God, that inner voice we have, or the wisdom that we hear from other people, we couldn't very well play God to our fellows, nor would we feel the urge wholly to rely upon human protection and care. There is something bigger than us, a power greater than us, often said, and I see it as the wisdom of the many. And the world is changing fast. Old values and ideas about having and not having are breaking down. So we need to take care. We need to take care in this world about what's going on. It continues, all my life I depended upon people for my emotional needs and security, but today I cannot live that way anymore. In other words, depending on, subservient to, or overly relying on other people serves no purpose. It means that the balance isn't there. By the grace of God, I have admitted my powerlessness over people, places and things. I had been a real people addict. Wherever I went, there had to be someone who would pay some kind of attention to me. It was the kind of attitude that could only get worse, because the more I depended on others and demanded attention, the less I received. I have given up believing that any human power can relieve me of that empty feeling. Although I remain a fragile human being who needs to work AA steps to keep this particular principle before my personality, it is only a loving God who can give me inner peace and emotional stability. So there is a connection somewhere. When we wake up, we have an inner voice going, oh no, it's 4:30 in the morning, why am I awake? Or in this case, 3:10. I don't feel sorry for myself. I do what Dale Carnegie says, if you can't sleep, get up and do something. So I did, and sorting out something, doing something positive and useful when we can't sleep is a good idea, rather than fretting about it and thinking, why am I victimised by not sleeping? The simple answer is, it doesn't matter. I need to do something about it. and not languish there thinking I'm feeling hard done by because I haven't got whatever number of hours I'm supposed to have. So, my thoughts for today around emotional stability. Emotional stability suggests balance in our outlook. Our feelings fit with reality, what we experience right now. If our current situation is stable, our emotions are likely to be stable and we are in the moment of now. When we face extremes, then our feelings are likely to move toward extremes, because if we're having an extreme experience, like walking across a busy road without looking, fear will come to mind. But if we actually take trouble to look whichever way you look for traffic in your country, then you're more likely to take a balanced view of when to cross the road. We can find balance in how we react and respond. Feelings inform our thinking. Our response can then be more considered than a split-second reaction. So when we can be more considered, have time to ponder or think things through, all well and good. But if you're facing a bus or a train coming at you at 100 miles an hour, you need to get out of the way. You have a split second to react. So it's the balance of all those things. So emotional stability is dependent on our situation, but reaction and response can be different. How we react and respond to life. We don't have to pick up a drink to do it. So when it gets bad and awful, we don't have to think, oh God, it's happening to me. We can actually say, I'll ring up my best friend and tell them about it, and they can give me a different viewpoint. So a higher power works through people for me, and that can be the road sweeper, the man digging up the street, the woman crossing the road who I happen to know, and say, hello Gladys, or whoever it happens to be, guess what's happened to me? So we share it, we take the heat out of it, and we have a chance to get things back in balance. Another one for me today, self-reliance and interdependence, is always a balance and something we learn every day. When we make decisions which are about us, we may not feel the need to consult day to day. When decisions impact on others, we need to include them in the decision making. Agreement and acceptance offers empathy and equality. We need not tread on the toes of our fellows or other people today. And it's very easy to do that. It's like the person in a queue in a supermarket who suddenly finds that an attractive personality might say, would you mind if I just get my 2 items before you? And you've got to ask yourself, well, what am I going to do about that? And they may flatter our ego and we say yes, or we may just say 2 items doesn't matter to me, but if they're paying with 150 coins it might matter to me. The answer is it doesn't matter, but you can say no if you really want to. Depends how many items you've got as well. If you've only got 2 as well, you might say, well actually I've only got 2, so get behind me. It's up to you how you choose, but you don't need to get angry about it. You can assert your, well, I feel that I'm here and it's my turn, so no. An emphatic no is better than a half-hearted yes, because a half-hearted yes offers resentment and anger. Previous years, we are a part of life, community, society. As we gain perspective and see the big picture, we are open to all possibilities and not limited to one view or outlook. So in other words, the more we include people in what we're up to, and this is the difference between interdependence and dependence. If we're sharing to get a mutual understanding of what way to go, or what to follow and what to do, then we are negotiating, and we're not giving up anything. We're negotiating a joint outcome. Life experience and being interdependent, our world is enriched as we listen and live new experience, strength and hope every day, open to truth and love today. Because at the end of it, what's important is how we learn how to love people, love ourselves, and be useful again, from being completely isolated, shut down, fearful, and a bottle in hand. Here's another one from another year. I need slow down to now. One step ahead, question mark. We need be to assess risk, be open to future possibilities. All good. And still myself, to know how I am feeling today, why and what to do. Still ourselves, to know how we are feeling today, why and what can we do. Together, live now with an eye on the future. So life is about being in the moment and also knowing the future possibilities, which may need further discussion and understanding with other people. And so often over the centuries we have allowed ourselves to lose our freedoms. I lost a great deal more when I picked up a drink, and I didn't even know it. At first we feel better for a drink, then we become dependent on it, as we can then become dependent on people. The power ratio, or the power game, if it is a game, the power is not with me, it's with substance and other people. So these days I'm not being controlled by substance, which means then I'm controlled by other people and dependent upon them. I have freedom, but the freedom means I have to take responsibility for my actions and try not to tread on the toes of other people as well. So it's about working out interrelationships, and it's enormously difficult yet appropriate to do it. So M. Scott Peck, the man who wrote The Road Less Travelled, better known as a gin-sodden, chain-smoking philanderer, said in the first sentence of the book, life is difficult. And when we accept that life is difficult, then it ceases to be an issue. Life is simply difficult. So the whole thing of interaction with other people, being part of family if we can, and we haven't lost them, community, society, whatever it is, and in particular where we learn most, in fellowship about what everybody's trying to do. That's wonderful. And a fellowship which I never knew about until I was pushed through the doors by a very concerned relative, my sister, and that by that simple action she saved my life. It may not have saved I was still in danger for a long time because I rebelled and thought, you must be joking, I'm not one of them. Although I did say, when asked, because the room was full of people I knew, ironically, part of the community around here, part of the health club I went to, part of the arts club, which I knew, people I just knew from the neighbourhood, and then in a later time, a neighbour, another neighbour, two neighbours, and their fiancée at the time, and on it went. So anonymity really wasn't an issue for me. I didn't have any. But I value it as sacrosanct for other people because there is still stigma out there. But the danger is with anonymity that we actually stigmatise ourselves more when we need not be anonymous with people we know. Because secrets do keep us stuck. Or some people say secrets keep us sick. I prefer secrets do keep us stuck, because the more we are covering up something, the more people are aware that there is something missing in us. There is some ingredient that they cannot see. And people are not foolish. So when we change our attitude and behaviour, stop drinking and get happy sometimes, or happy or sad as life is, just as it is today. There's no need to fake anything to make anything. There's no need for a mask if we're truly true to ourselves. But those choices make life difficult. What helps me in any moment? The serenity prayer. It's the can do, can't do, wisdom to know the difference. I can change my attitude and behaviour. I can't change your attitude and behaviour. And then you need to keep on learning that wisdom to know the difference. So the serenity prayer to God, or in good conscience, as you believe for yourself, not for me or anyone else, what you believe for yourself, to God or in good conscience. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference in the moment and just for today.